Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And in today's episode, the topic is, can Devin Booker and Chris Paul cause havoc in the Western Conference this year? So that's the topic I want to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Also, be sure to check out our Dreamerspro Podcast, which is linked in the description below. Also, be on the lookout for our Dreamerspro Premium platform that we're launching, I believe, sometime next week during the first week of January. And also be on the lookout for Dreamerspro.com, which will also launch in January, which we're really excited about. So be on the lookout for all of those things. So let me just get into the Devin Booker here and the Suns here. Now, this is a team that we actually have never covered on this channel before at any point in time. And the reason for that is quite simple. The Phoenix Suns for the past few years have not been a very good team. The last time the Phoenix Suns were really good, you have to go all the way back to when Steve Nash was playing with Amari Stoudemire. Then I think they had Shaq. But since the departure of Steve Nash years ago, and Steve Nash, who is now a head coach of the Brooklyn Nets, the Phoenix Suns just haven't been that good. Even Charles Barkley, if you see him on TV a lot, TV on TNT, you will hear him poking fun at the Phoenix Suns. He's like, it's a great team. I mean, it's a great state, great plays, but man, they have a horrible team. So they haven't really been really good for the last few years. But they've had this guy named Devin Booker who has been on that roster for quite some time now, and he's been like a bona fide scorer for these guys, man. Devin Booker is a very young, sensational player. He's only 24 years old, and so far in his career, he made an all-star team for the first time last year in 2020. He won a three-point contest in 2018, and he made the all-rookie first team, I think in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. Now, Devin Booker has a game where he scored about, I think, 70 points a few years ago. The reason that game went under the radar was because, number one, I think they lost, and number two, I think it was something that the team decided, okay, let's let this guy get 70 points. So no one really cared when he scored the 70 points, believe it or not. But he's a very talented scorer. His first year in his career, he averaged 14 points per game. Then his next year, he came into the league in 2015. Then his next year, he averaged 22 points per game. Then he went all the way to 25 points per game. And then in 2018, 2019, he went to 26.6. And then last year, he equaled the same number at 26.6 for the season. But he got you 6.5 rebounds. 6.5 assists, 4.2 rebounds. He shot, 91% from the free throw line, which is pretty impressive. He shot 35% from the three and 48.9% from the field, playing 36 minutes a game. So Devin Booker is a really talented player. And Stephen A. Smith has always said on TV, like, man, I feel like this guy is wasting his talent. And, with the Phoenix Suns, they need to get him more help because, he's not being able to showcase his abilities playing on a bad team and all these different things. So those have been the things that have been said about Devin Booker. But what happened last season in the Orlando bubble, for those 8 games in the Orlando bubble, if I'm not mistaken, the Phoenix Suns went in there and won every single game, if I'm not mistaken, in the bubble. And they surprised a lot of people, like, wow, this team was playing pretty well. And they went in there, and I think their head coach, Monty Williams, I think was moved to tears, if I'm not mistaken, because of how hard that team competed. So in the offseason, I think the Phoenix Suns knew that they needed to get better. And they wanted to get better at the point guard position. They needed a veteran to kind of settle the team down, be a good leader, be a good voice in the locker room. So they went out there and acquired CP3, Chris Paul. Right now, Chris Paul, for those of you guys who don't know, maybe you just hear about him in passing, or you just hear he's a great leader and all of this. Chris Paul is on his way straight into the Hall of Fame, and he started his career in 2005. And Chris Paul is 35 years old. He's a 10-time All-Star Game MVP in 2013. He's been on 4 All-NBA first teams, 4 second, and 1 third. So he's been on 9 All-NBA teams in his career, which is pretty impressive. He's been on 7 All-First defensive teams. Think about that. 7. Kobe made 9. Jordan made 9. I think LeBron has made 5. So that's how elite of a defender Chris Paul is at his position to make 7 All-First defensive teams. He's made 2 All-Second. So the guy has been on 9 all defensive teams. So that's nothing to sneeze at, right? He was the Rookie of the Year in 2006. He's led the league in assists 4 times in 2008, 2009, 2014, 2015. And he's led the league in steals, which I didn't even know until now, 6 times. Chris Paul has led the league in steals 6 times, which to me, he led it from he led the league in 2008 to 2009, 2008 and 2009. Then he led the league in steal from 2011 to 2014. Think about just how crazy that is. But Chris Paul is also known for his accomplishment. I just read off to you his illustrious career. For his career, he's averaging 18.5 points per game, 2.2 steals, 9.5 assists, 4.5 rebounds, 87% from the free throw line, 37% from the three, and 47% from the field for his career. So Chris Paul is a first ballot shoe-in for the Hall of Fame. I don't even think there's a question about that. And y'all saw what he was able to do with the Oklahoma City Thunder just last season, a team that everyone wrote off, especially after they lost Paul George to the LA Clippers, and they lost Russell Westbrook to the Houston Rockets. So they thought that team was going to tank, right? They thought they weren't going to do well, and next thing you know, they went to playoffs, and they did pretty well in the playoffs. I think they even did better than the Houston Rockets, to be quite honest with you. They had a better season. So for me, adding Chris Paul to that backcourt with Devin Booker, I think makes them one of the best backcourts, in the entire league. One of the best backcourts. If you think about the ball handling, the leadership of Chris Paul, the versatility of Chris Paul, his shooting, and his ability to put people in the right position to succeed, alongside a bona fide scorer in Devin Booker, I think you have a recipe for success. And thus far, looking at the NBA standings this season, if we go to the Western Conference, the Phoenix Suns are the number 2 seed in the West. I mean, granted, it's very early. There's only the teams have only played. Some teams have played 3 games. Some teams have played 4 games. But nevertheless, they're the number 2 seed in the Western Conference. Now, obviously, things are going to change. You don't expect the Lakers with the 7 seed to stay at the 7. You expect them to go higher. You expect other teams to move up, like the Portland Trail Blazers and others. But nevertheless, they're there, right? And that's because of the addition of Chris Paul and pairing him alongside Devin Booker, and they have a very young core there with a great coach, Monty Williams, who I think the team seems to galvanize around, and I think he has a pulse on his team, and the team seems to listen to him. Now, do I think they can be an upper seed in the Western Conference? Well, given the way that this season is starting off, I think because the season is a bit truncated, with the training camp being shortened by 3 games, preseason being shortened by 3 games, I think training camp being shortened as well. I think teams are still kind of practicing or getting their legs under them in real NBA games. So I expect things to clean up, and I expect us to have a better sense of which teams are actually good after the first, let's say, 25 games of the season have gone by. Then we'll kind of get an idea of what teams are actually legit and which teams are not. So it's a bit early. I don't know. I can't say, okay, I can't project into the future and say, okay, they're going to finish as a number 2 seed, given the fact that they have the number 2 seed right now. No, we don't. It's way too early to say that. But I do think they have a chance to be one of the top 4 seeds. Like, I'm not holding it past them. A lot of people overlooked the Oklahoma City Thunder last year, and they made the playoffs, right? I think they made the playoffs. So it wouldn't surprise me in any way, shape, or form if this team made the playoffs as well, with Chris Paul on that team and the young studs that they have on that team. And for me, I think they can cause havoc in the West, especially if they're going to be overlooked by other teams. And you don't need to go too far to think of the Golden State Warriors a few years back with Baron Davis, Matt Barnes, Steven Jackson, and these guys who were the number 8 seed, who beat the number 1 seed in the Dallas Mavericks and shocked everybody, because most people don't take 8 seeds seriously. But if this team ends up being a 7th, 8th, or whatever seed they are, they're not the same team that they were last year, especially with the addition of Chris Paul to that team. So what I want to know from you guys is, do you think that the Phoenix Suns and Devin Booker and Chris Paul and these guys can cause havoc in the Western Conference? Or do you think it's just a flash in the pan and it's just early season success, and that's going to change as the season goes on? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Also, be sure to check out the next video that we have after this video. If you enjoyed this one, I'm sure you guys are going to enjoy that video as well. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro, wishing you guys an amazing day, and catch you guys in the next episode. Peace.